Alright, what's up guys? NinjaDeathStrike here, bringing you another Pokemon TCGO match. This is recorded during the phase where I was still playing around with Sigilyph. Not Sigilyph, Serperior. Sorry, Sigilyph is in this deck as well. Serperior, so it is another Serperior deck. If you guys watched Bad Deck Monday, I guess it would have been last week, I think, Puka put together a Serperior Cresselia deck, and this is kind of my take on that deck. It's quite different. He played Blissey in his. I don't, because Blissey's terrible. Instead, I just kind of focus on getting Serperior out, and I do play a heavier Mewtwo line than he did, just because I wanted to try and make the deck a little bit better. But as we're going to see, it still has problems, still has some major problems. And yeah, on top of that, I get paired up against one of my worst possible matchups, Blastoise Keldeo. I do start with Sigilyph, which is always good. It's just a really safe starter, and it doesn't get knocked out very quickly, so that is comforting. However, I do not have the best start outside of that. I go ahead and use N for a whole lot of nothing. Just decide to get rid of some stuff, go ahead and get a Snivy down on the field, and maybe be able to get a Serperior out next turn. So I don't have to worry about a turn 2 Blastoise because he did not get a Squirtle out, so that's good. He didn't do a whole lot his first turn. He opted to go for the Ceylon instead of any other supporter, so it actually might have been a bit of a mistake to go for that N, but I didn't have anything to do with my first turn either, so I guess it was kind of a wash, but I do give him a new hand, and that's going to let him get a Squirtle down, and yeah, start to threaten a Blastoise next turn. It's certainly possible, so I have an interesting decision here. I have all three of my supporters in my hand, or three supporters. I do have a Bianca and a Sharon in here as well. But I think I'm probably just going to go for the N. I don't really want a Juniper. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm just going to go for the Juniper and go for the big play. But looks like it doesn't really work out for me here. I guess it does. I mean, I get a turn 2 Superior, so that's nice. But I do whiff my DCE. I play 4 DCE in this deck. Excuse me, sorry, my throat's a little dry. I do play 4 DCE, and I don't hit one, so I'm not able to do any damage, but I'm still pretty safe. Serperior does resist water, so it would take a whole lot of energy for Keldeo to do anything to me. However, with each turn, I'm falling further and further behind. This deck does aim to try and use Cresselia, and I have not seen a Cresselia or DCE or anything to get that going. I just kind of have this lone Sigilyph up trying to survive, which he does block Keldeo EX, so that's really good. It does slow the Blastoise deck down, but the main reason it's such a bad matchup for me is that Keldeo is capable of one-shotting Cresselia, and any card that can one-shot Cresselia just kind of defeats the whole purpose of the deck. You know, you don't get to heal off damage if you just get killed in one hit every time. So we see I'm having an energy drought here. I Bianca for 3, hit 0 energies, and am forced to just pass. So I've got that Cresselia on my bench now. I've got the Sigilyph active, and I've got 1 energy to show for it. I'm really just hoping that my opponent is stuck. He played his hand down to 1 last turn, but of course that's not the case. He goes for a Juniper here. And then we see a Great Ball. I know I mentioned in my last match that that card had been popping up quite a bit. And he gets a Dunsparce with it, so definitely 2 very strange cards in what is otherwise a really solid Blastoise Keldeo list, or I mean at least it looks like it. And then he plays Town Map 2, which seems to be a favorite people on TCGO, so check out that green card in the bottom corner. Turns out it's a Roselia, which is always a solid tech. Like, I will never say that it doesn't belong in a deck. If you can fit it in, it's always good. So I definitely won't fault him for playing that. But the other 3 cards that turn were a little bit suspect. So he is going to start deluging water energy onto Blastoise. I'm sure you guys know by this point, but Blastoise has an ability that lets you attach as many water energy as you want per turn. So he's just going to drop all of his water energies. I have a handful of stuff that is not doing me any good, so I'm just going to Ultra Ball, grab something. I'll go for another Snivy. Maybe I can get a second Superior, and then I'm just going to have to Juniper. I threw away a lot of stuff there, but I didn't really have a choice. There was just... I needed energy. I could not afford to sit there another turn. He had a huge turn last turn. He is threatening to attack with this Blastoise any day now, and I need to do something about that. So I'm going to think long and hard here about what I want to do. I can attach the DCE to either Mewtwo or Sigilif. I kind of want to protect the Sigilif. I know that it's really good against Blastoise. Especially because a lot of Blastoise decks don't prepare for it very well. They normally only have Blastoise to attack Sigilif, and if you can, deal with the Blastoise, then you kind of just run train with Sigilif after that. So I go for the Mewtwo instead, decide just to hit Keldeo for 80, and force him to deal with this. He didn't have very many cards in his hand. The chances of him being able to get Mewtwo and 3 more water energy I felt were pretty slim. He has 3 on the Blastoise and 2 on the Keldeo. So that's already 5. And then, to get 3 more, that would be most of the water energy in his deck. I just didn't see that happening. So I felt like Mewtwo was not going to get knocked out this round, and because of that, it was a pretty solid choice to attack with. Turns out that's the case. He hits me for 90, which is fine. I probably am going to lose this Mewtwo, but I'm going to take down the Keldeo before that happens, and that's fine with me. So I do have an interesting option here, though. I have 2 potions in my hand, so I'm going to be able to play both of those and bring myself down to 20, and then the Superior will heal me by 10. But I guess I decide not to do that. All right. Yeah, if I was going to play one, I should have played both. I don't really know. Let's see. If I had 10 damage, he could do 80, 160, 140. Yeah, I should have used both, and that would have forced him to have 3 energy in order to kill me. Now he just needs 2. So I should have either played both or none and saved them for later. But I guess I felt like he was going to have a hard time returning the KO. Unfortunately for me, again, he has exactly what he needs. He plays down a Ceylon from his 2-card hand and gets 3 water energy, which is going to be enough to knock me out. He doesn't even need to put all 3 on there, but he does anyhow. So it turns out the potion debacle is kind of pointless because he just played down all 3 anyhow. So it was definitely a misplay from me, but then he misplayed as well and kind of made up for it. So you'll probably notice at this point that Cresselia has done nothing, and that's because it's slow and bad. It takes 4 energy to attack. It's just way too much in this format without any form of energy acceleration. And yeah, it's just it doesn't get charged up fast enough, and if you do get a couple energy on there, it just gets catchered and X-balled before it gets to do anything. At this point, I cannot even attach another energy to it because Mewtwo can just catcher it and then X-ball, and that the attack, Cresselia's attack, does eliminate your weakness for the turn, but it's only after you use the attack, and Mewtwo is way faster than Cresselia, and normally what happens is it just gets catchered up and X-balled before the effect of the attack comes into play, and it hits for weakness and it dies. So my opponent is going to yet again have the perfect hand for what he needs to do. He just so happens to pull his Tool Scrapper, which just so happens to allow him to have exactly enough energy on his Blastoise to take out my Sigilif. So that kind of sucks. Again, I don't have any energy or not enough. I can't really do anything. I'm trying to decide what I want to get with the Skyla, and I figure it's probably best to get an N here. This Snivy is going to go down. Once that happens, I believe it'll put my opponent down to 2 prizes. Yeah, and so my plan here is just to hold off for one more turn, end him to 2, and hopefully shut him down from there. He's played a lot of resources. The main resource he's got to be running low on at this point is energy. He's got 4 on Blastoise, 3 on Mewtwo, so that's already 7. And then I know that he had 3 on the Keldeo, so that's 10. He can't have more than, at most, 3 water energy left in the deck, and that's being generous. Most only play 10 or 11, so at this point it's a very real possibility that he's completely out of water energy. And, that would be good for me, because it means if I can deal with this stuff, I have a small chance to win just by overwhelming him. So I top deck a Mewtwo here, and really my only chance is to just go Mewtwo. I have 2 energy on the Cresselia, so it would be nice to attack with that, but I can just slap a DCE on Mewtwo and threaten to X-Ball my way to victory as well. Unfortunately, I still don't get a DCE. I think I've gotten 1 out of 4. I'm not sure if I had a few prized or what's going on, but I whiff again. And so I'm just going to attach a Blend Energy to Snivy. Snivy is going to take a kill here on a Mewtwo with Tackle. That Psychic from Sigilif was 10 shy. It did 160. And so Tackle is actually enough to take down the Mewtwo, and Snivy gets a kill. So I tie it up in prizes, and to spite everything that's happened in this match, I feel like I'm in okay shape. I was able to end my opponent down to a small hand. He didn't do anything, and then I did get my other end, so I could play it if I need to. However, I really just need to hit a DCE. So I go for the Sharon, whiff again, and I'm in trouble. A catcher wins him the game. That's all there is to it. I can't stop him from killing the Sigilif with the Blastoise. I don't have any more Eviolites, so I just kind of send up Cresselia to hopefully tank and pray to God he doesn't get a catcher. I can attach this energy to the other Cresselia, but I decide, nope. Just going to go with Mewtwo. In Mewtwo I trust. I only need 2 energy. It will do a buttload of damage to that Blastoise because it's got 4 energy on it, and if I take out the Blastoise, that's it. So he's going to attach more energy to himself, go for the plus power. I really don't like this play, but I guess he's trying to thin out his deck for N, which he ended himself down to 1. But again, I can understand. He's trying to make sure I don't have any resources as well. He's the one that is in the position to win, just because he only needs to take 1 more prize. If he hits a catcher, he wins. If I can't switch out, I win. Skyro is helping me there. So I do understand his line of thinking, but I finally hit my other DCE, and just blow away the Blastoise. The extra energy didn't matter since I did get the DCE. However, if I just hit a regular Psychic Energy or a Blend, it would have mattered. No, it wouldn't. I still would have been at 140, I guess. No, it would have. I would have been at 120. Yeah, so at this point, he's got nothing. He ended himself down to 1, so I didn't even have to do that. And take out the Blastoise and just squeak out a win. But this is pretty much the perfect video to show why Cresselia doesn't work. It's slow and bad. I do think it would work in a Hydreigon deck just because it conserves energy so well. I know some people do play it in there because it's a good card if you get it attacking, but trying to get it powered up before you just get X-Balled or Hydro Pumped or whatever Keldeo, Secret Sorted into Oblivion, just way too hard. So hopefully you guys liked the match. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Leave me a comment about the video. Check out the links in the description, and I will have more coming your way shortly. Thanks for watching, guys.